Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Jnanatimrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Śrī Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swaparantikam Jaya Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadāṭhara Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I already highlighted few unusually, unexpectedly interesting points which are explained. First of all, that this knowledge is better than so far explained. How we can understand? Because the 6 chapters in the middle, they're explaining about devotional service. And now Krishna says, I'm explaining something better. Any ideas? How is that happening? So, when we talk about middle chapters, usually we explain that these middle chapters, although in the beginning of Purport, Prabhupada says, explaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but not just Godhead, how to serve Him. So this is the middle chapter theme. But now, because in Prabhupada's terms, this is sandwich, the knowledge, bhakti, and again knowledge, But usually it happens a little bit different. The beginning knowledge was kind of introductory, explaining situation. And then there was a devotion, the most secret part, param, rajaguhyam, rajavidyam, and the knowledge about devotion. And then now comes how to use it, how apply that previous knowledge in real life. So therefore the previous chapter was explaining about the kshetragya, the consciousness, the purusha, all these things, how they actually exist. In the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, it was explained that Bhagavad Gita has a main 5 topics. Who remember 5 topics? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. What is missing? Bhakti. Because if you put triangle, so on the top we put Krishna, left side we can put Jiva, and we put on the right side Prakriti. So when interaction happens, then Ishvara interacting with Prakriti, what happens? Through the time. Jiva interacting with the Prakriti happens through the karma. But direct thing from Jiva to Lord is kind of missing, right? It's not explained, but it is the most confidential part. Because that part has to be renewed. Arjuna was doing the fighting, he was doing interaction in the karma. And, pretty high advanced karma kanda. And when Krishna said, please surrender to me, he was kind of quoting all the scriptures when he was explained, this and dynasty and so on, and many things, The gurus, these are gurus, we're not trying to kill them, not verbal fight, nothing. But then the whole thing is in a main theme, the Bhakti Shastri, because the Bhagavad Gita is also, it's called Gita Upanishad. This is topmost philosophy. So therefore, this philosophy is kind of the main theme which has to be explained. The previous ones we already have, although we don't see the Lord, but we see Prakriti, we see other living beings. So those are kind of familiar. We know what it happens. So therefore, this chapter starts a little bit different. It explains the Prakriti part, how it is acting, how it is divided in the three parts, Tamaguna and Rajaguna and Sattvagun. But let's start with the most unusual thing, which usually devotees completely condemn. What is that? The first, I should put this thing to the to the screen, because I have highlighted in a bold some things, That philosophical speculation, Prabhupada is saying such an unusual thing. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, what does that mean? How we can understand Bhagavad Gita through philosophical speculation? Is it possible? Probably not so easy. Philosophical speculation has a very nice term in Sanskrit. It's called tattva vichar. Have you heard of it? Tattva. Vichar. Vichar means, actually, there's also three processes. Somewhere else it is said. You first shravanam, and then mananam, and then nididhyasanam. Yeah. So the second part is mananam, when you actually try to put in the mind all those things which you have heard so far. So therefore, this nice term, which usually it is said about the jnanis, jnana yoga, this is philosophical speculation. Why the term is bad? Because it is just philosophy, just happening in the mind. And jnanis usually do that. They don't want to do any activity. They just sit and talk and think and make different theories, how it is this and how it is that. Many of these things not really connect to the real world. Maybe like this, maybe like that. And the problem is they usually don't want to come to the conclusion. Because if you come to conclusion, you have to start acting. But if you put, okay, we developed theory, this one was not very good, okay, let's make another, next one. So therefore, this is problematic speculation. But speculation has very good sense, a word as such. Have you heard the speculation in a context of trading, of marketing? Have you heard such a term? What means speculation? When somebody is sitting on the street and selling things, he is only selling or he is speculating? He is speculating. Because speculation means you buy on one price and you sell to the higher price. So that's called speculation. That means there is some benefit in the activity, first of all. That means you take something and you add the value, whatever it is, and you give to someone else. So speculation at the same time, it is good. Because we take something which we heard from this chapter of three gunas material nature, and we add our value of our personal experience, what we have in our life. And we confirm, yes, it is true. I have seen in this world, this is guna, that is guna, that is guna, but I didn't know what the name for that is. And many times when we have this philosophical search for truth, many times we come to the class and somebody says something very simple but very concise, very condensed and very precise. And he said, yes, I was thinking about, but now the definition came out so nicely. So therefore, this is added value when we put together many things. And therefore, for a devotee who is being experienced in life, especially this is mostly given for Grihastha, that is being in life, he knows all these things, but now Shastra explains, okay, this is this, and this is this, and this is this. This is this guna, that guna, and that guna. And therefore, it's good to know. But besides that, the next thing, which is even more interesting, usually we know that three gunas, material nature, they usually bind us, right? And tamaguna binds to ignorance, to madness, and rajaguna to passion and suffering, and sattva-guna also binds to sarga. It's a kind of, it's a little bit further down, but it's true. Sarga, it binds to this sense of happiness, binds to the knowledge, and also binds as a pride. I'm knowledgeable, I know those things. And this is one of the biggest problems when you distribute books. You give him a book, I know, yes, I know. And one of those scientists, this guy who, actually he's a materialist scientist, he said this quote, that even dangerous and ignorance is a improper knowledge. If you're ignorant, at least you understand you're ignorant. But if you have some knowledge which is wrong, you say, I have knowledge. Just imagine you have money. Some years here in India, back there was this change of money. Who remembers? They changed the notes. And you come to this note, you can exchange in a bank, and they give you proper notes. But after 2-3 years, it's finished. And if you don't know, you don't go to the bank, you don't watch TV, you have big stack of money, and you think, I am wealthy, but actually it's not. It's worth nothing. Even more, if you come after 1 year with this money, they'll put in the police, they'll put in a prison. Right? So, the wrong knowledge is even worse than the proper knowledge. So therefore, the gunas are binding. But here Prabhupada gives even more. How it is binding, but how it's also freeing from material entanglement. Question for you, how I can, through the gunas, which are binding to me, how they free me? Next question, of course. Think about inside. Principle is very simple. When we come to the class here, we come through the door. If you want to get out, you use the same door, right? So, in the same thing, when you come to the ditch, you get to the hole, then best way out is go back. It's so interesting. Have you seen the elephants working in the forest in India? Who have experience? Have you seen? They're pulling big logs of wood, with the chains and everything. But elephant has a very unusual habit. When he walks in a forest, sometimes there's a bump in the, ground, because of water or something, and he steps in and it's like, whoa, deep. But he doesn't fall in completely. When he comes next time some road, he doesn't go around. Better he knows, I will go this deep, but if I go around, maybe I fall completely. So therefore, better keep this way. So same way, sometimes we keep those things which are our attachments in mental life. At least we know this is not worse. At least I'm safe in the position which I am. But, as we know, as a material guna of sattva guna, yes, the goodness, it has something to do with knowledge, right? And knowledge has enlightening effect. So the more you pull yourself out from tamaguna, the more it comes to action. Because in the beginning, when you say in tamaguna, there is no action. There's just sleep. Right? Sleep, madness, dreaming. These are qualities of a person who is in tamaguna. He doesn't really actually act. There was this unusual story about one king who wanted to find who is the most lazy person in a kingdom. And how he did? He set up the houses in the fire. And everybody runs out. Oh, is something wrong, like house is burning, and they're running, help, help, help. But then there was two guys, and they were lying inside the house, and they talked to each other, I don't know what kind of name we can say, Ashok, Ashok, listen, I feel that this side is too hot. Let's turn another side. And they were so lazy, they couldn't even get in a house. Doesn't matter the fire. So this is laziness. This is tamaguna. When you don't have a proper way how to act. And even more, if you start acting, you act completely opposite. Prabhupada said, the lazy fool is better than the active fool, because active fool will create so many problems. Lazy fool, at least he is not doing anything stupid. So therefore, when we have these different gunas, at least good to pull out from tamaguna and start acting, doing something. But if you don't want to have too much problems, we start to do understanding why we do, how we do. So, this is Rajaguna. It has some problems, yes. But Rajaguna, we can know many stories from Śrīmad Bhagavatam saying, Hiranyakashipu, for example, he was following scripture. He was following very nice scriptures. But he was doing that for his own purpose. So tamaguna means no scripture, just zero. Your own imagination, your own ideas. But when you start getting proper activity, you have to find out what gives a proper result. If I want to do something and I get proper result, you don't do wrong things. You go to the kitchen, and if you want proper food to eat, you don't put too much fire. You stir around a little bit, You put not too much salt, many small details. And unless you find yourself by experience, somebody else can teach. So when activities start, when the Rajaguna starts happening, you already start interacting with other people, finding out what to do, how to do. So gradually, then accumulate knowledge, and that's already Sattva-guna. So this is how the same gunas, which are kind of binding, they're also helping out. And, sometimes says that Shiva is representative tamaguna. What he does in the universe, he's not really engaged into the creation, right? Brahma is creation. He is in destruction. But unless you destroy the banana peel, you want to cook proper banana sabji, you have to do some destruction. You have to cut potato peel, banana peel. You have to, this shape, you cut in a small pieces. So you're destroying the banana, you're destroying potato. So tamaguna is helping to create. So on the basis of tamaguna is building up rajaguna. But then comes a sattva-guna, which is advised. Why? Because, first of all, we understand the whole varnashrama system is built in such a way that gradually, these gunas are represented in different varnas and ashramas, right? Which is prevalent guna for brahmanas. Sattva guna, right? So they are into knowledge. Maybe not so much in action, so they're not so passionate. Kshatriyas in the passion, they want to act, they want to manage so many things. But Brahmanas, they are happy, just give advice. I don't have to do it myself, If you do it, I'm happy. But Kshatriya cannot do it. Let's do you. No, I'm going to do. I'm doing myself, If you want to do something good, you have to do it yourself, right? It's a famous statement. So this is passion, activity. But at the same time, we can take a very, very deep meaning. It's called Vastutraya. Vastutraya usually, Prabhupada gives very simple. This is Sambandha, Pideya, Prayojana. These are three main ideas which every scripture has to be explained based on these things. So, if you put on Vastutraya, then Sambandha is tamaguna, is your situation. What you want to achieve is a happiness. That is Sattva-guna, right? Happiness. And in order to achieve those things, you have to act. This is Rajaguna. So your past is tamaguna. Your future is, happiness, Maybe also Rajaguna will be future. From that point of view, the sattva guna is now. I'm dreaming about what's happening in the future, it's Rajaguna, What happened in the past, all my situation was Tamaguna. But actually, today, now what I'm doing, this is present, and this is Sattva Guna. This is actually activity now. So these are all things which are just how to explain how to get out of those things. And why Krishna is giving this knowledge, even more interesting, yes, why he said, because this is a tool how to get out. Also it is mentioned, if you have a stick, the thorn in your foot, you find another thorn and you pick it out and throw both of them out. So same thing, if you have some material guna, with the help of sattva guna, with the pure knowledge, how to do it, how to get out of material world, why this Prabhupada, why the verse said they attain supreme perfection. Supreme perfection means, coded name, it actually means devotional service. There is a perfection, but if you somebody hear supreme perfection, that means devotional service. Just perfection could mean liberation. But liberation is never mentioned as a supreme perfection. So if Krishna or Prabhupada says supreme perfection, that means, coded name, devotional service. So such a way. So there's very nice stories about this philosophical speculation. Interesting that one time in the childhood pastimes, when Lord Chaitanya was doing his childhood pastimes, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, there's chapter 14, Chaitanya's childhood pastimes, and there's one, I'm just read a little bit how he was doing. And this story about how Chaitanya was sitting in dirty pots, and he's giving his version of so-called philosophical speculation. One day, while the Lord was enjoying his playful sports with other little children, Mother Sachi brought a dish filled with the fussed rice and sweetmeats and asked the child to sit down and eat. Mother is the main activity. They just bring something to eat for a child. They never think that child eats too much, Too little, yes, not too much. But when she returned to the household duties, the child hid from his mother and began to eat dirt. This is kind of already habit. I think we know the stories from Krishna's childhood. He was also eating dirt, right? And the whole story about how Mother Yashoda was asking to open mouth and she saw the universal form. So Chaitanya is doing exactly the same. Seeing this, Mother Sachi hastily returned and exclaimed, "What is this? What is this?" She snatched the dirt from the hands of Lord Chaitanya and inquired, "Why are you eating it?" Crying, the child inquired from his mother, "Why? You are angry. You already given me dirt to eat. What is my fault?" The rice, sweetmeats, and all other eatables, but is a transformation of the dirt. And it's like small child is doing such a strange philosophy. This is dirt, and that is dirt. Please consider what is the difference between them. This body is transformation of dirt, and eatables is also transformation of dirt. Please reflect. He's asking mother, look, this is all transformation of dirt. Why are you blaming me? What can I say? Astonished that child is speaking Mayavada philosophy. Mother Sachi said, "Okay, who has taught you such a philosophical speculation?" Who is justifying, who is like giving excuse to eat dirt. Replying to this idea, she said, "My dear boy, if you eat transformation into the dirt into the grain, your body is nourished and it becomes strong. But if you eat dirt in an original state, you become diseased," and so on. Yeah. So this is such an unusual way. Even later, even more interesting, Advaitacharya, he is Mahavishnu, we know. And everybody is paying respects to him, including Lord Chaitanya. So he was not very happy with that. He thought how to devise a plan. So he was starting whimsically to explain path of philosophical speculation. And the Lord again, he started disrespecting him even more. He kicked. He kicked Advaitacharya. And the Mother Sita said, he's old man, you will kill him. Stop, like this. So this is another example of philosophical speculation. But when we talk here, what was the gatāḥ? No, it's not explained here. Another text in Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, there is a nice, interesting Sanskrit word for the philosophical speculation. It's called adhyatma padavi. You know, adhyatma, adidaiva, adibhuta, adhyatma. This is path explaining what is me, who I am. So philosophical speculation is like that. Exactly the first question I was asking my spiritual master was, what's the difference? I asked Guru Maharaj, what's the difference? Self-realization and God realization. What's the difference?
Know yourself, know ourselves.
Yeah. I was also expecting that he will give me such an answer. But his answer was very simple. He said, no difference. And I was like,
Yes.
wow, what is that? So actually, result is same, just question where you start. You start from yourself, from adhyatma, or you start from Ishvara. Doesn't matter. The result is same. So this adhyatma, therefore, is such an unusual thing. Sanskrit dictionary gives, path or word and adhyatma. What else? Knowledge means knowing distinction between spirit and matter. So this is adhyatma. When you say about myself, you have to understand, okay, this is kurta and this is dhoti. They look the same color, right? But they are different. Same, but different. Right? So when you look at yourself, adhyatma, the path of self-realization starts of dividing yourself. Because another well of this philosophical speculation is called Sankhya. You know the Sankhya Yoga, which is the third canto given by Kapila Dev? That means you divide things in small pieces. So originally, because we are preaching, we are explaining philosophical system coming from down, not from up, but from up, down. So this is downward path. So therefore, it is very easy because everything starts with one. God is one. Brahman is one. There is nothing else. Before creation there was one. After creation one. During creation I'm alone. Okay, easy. One. And then you start dividing him and his energy. Whatever. You can say Ishvara Prakriti. You can say Lakshmi Narayan. You can say Radha Krishna. Depends on which level you are or which place you stay. If you stay in material world, you start from, Prakriti Ishvara, some kind of supreme and energy. Since we are devotees of Krishna, we understand there is a Krishna and Radharani. And then we start dividing more. Like we said, there's 5 subjects, Ishvara, Jiva, there's Lord, there is an energy, and there's living being, and then there's also service include, if you put in Aum in 4 parts. So now we came to 5 subjects of Bhagavad Gita, then I add 6, the devotional service, and gradually it expands. And finally, the Sankhya Yoga comes to the, how many points?
8.
No, Sankhya, come on, give more. 24, 25, if you add Super Soul, 26. So these are, Krishna. Govinda. True. So this is dividing in this material world. And why it is done? Why this whole thing is done? basically the story about the liquid beauty. You remember we talked about liquid beauty? How Mataji was putting all these, was coming out of the body in a different pots, and the prince came and said, okay, you can marry, that's my beauty there. Right? So liquid beauty story Prabhupada liked very much. And he said, if you divide this whole material creation in a small elements, it becomes less attractive. You know? If you go to the morgue when the dead people are cut into the pieces, you don't have much attraction. I had my friend, very nice devotee, we got together initiated. He got the name Damodar Priya. But soon after, probably a couple of years after initiation, he had an accident. Very terrible accident. The car hit him and broke both legs. And that wouldn't be too much. You know, you see people in the wheelchairs and everything was okay. But somehow, this bone marrow started to coming into the blood. And started to travel all the body and starting putting, closing all the veins and something in such a way. It was such a terrible thing. And they tried to do operation and put him anesthesia. And he didn't wake up. And he was lying here for a week or two in a coma. And finally, they decided, okay, we just disconnect him. So I was, as his brother-in-law, in a God, we disciples together. We are the first disciples in my country. Free Prabhu, Free Mataji. And I had to go to the morgue to put him dhoti, put in final, We didn't have fireplaces. We just put him in a coffin and put in the ground. Yeah, no, there was no cremation. So unfortunately, no. Anyways, and his wife also came. And she was like shaking, She was so young girl. She was like hardly 22, 23 and had 2 children already. And she was crying and she was disappointed. And then she was like, I have to now dress my dead husband. And she was like, so terrible. And what happened when she touched him? Just like that, say goodbye. She kind of like completely became silent and transcendental. She said, that's not him. That's not him. He's gone, And she was so cool, dressing him and joking around, And she understood, this is not my husband anymore. Because of devotional service, he was devotee, and they had these artis and readings and everything. That thing came to the conclusion. The thing is, okay, that's not me. And when you have those things like that, you understand there's something different. There's difference between the spirit and matter. He's gone, Why people cry, why did you leave us? You're lying down here. You didn't leave us. So these things, when you divide into the pieces of things, in molecules and atoms and everything, that becomes less attractive. So this knowledge which Krishna gives here helps Arjuna understand. Oh, this is Rajaguna, this is Tamaguna, this is Sattva-guna, but this is nothing to do with spirituality. This is still material science. Elements and energies and there's 50 different types of wind, starting Marichi. There was Krishna saying that amongst all the winds I'm a Marichi, and then there's different fires and the mountains, and he gives all the potencies. And in the water, I'm a taste of water. One time I asked, Maharaj, can you give me deep meditation which will help me for years? And he said, okay, take the verse. I am the taste of water. So you think about it every day. How? Krishna is taste of water. So this will be your replacement of material speculation. This will be your philosophical speculation. And I was amazed, because this is a philosophical speculation. You take the Shastra and you take material example in life and you try to connecting together. So this is proper philosophical speculation, which is given here by Prabhupada, which is usually we say, oh, it's not good, but it's good for us. Yes, in such a way we understand that gunas, all three of them together, they can help us. The one thing will be our situation, because originally we start from the top down. We have to understand that there's a Krishna, okay, he's alone, and then he's an energy. How you call this energy? Swayam, Shakti, original energy of God. And then the energy is divided into three, Samvit, Sandini, and Hladini, the enjoyment and existence. So when these three energies, they in a line of water, they reflect into material world, they become these three modes of material nature. Actually, they are spiritual. So if you look at those things from the spiritual point of view, these three modes of material nature become three different types of spiritual energy. Amazing. Same thing when we look at the deities, from first point of view, yeah, it's a marble or metal or something, but gradually, by developing vision, we start to seeing, oh, this is deity, this is Krishna. I can speak to him, he can answer to me. Same thing, when you start seeing around all these three modes of material nature, and you start adding the devotional service into the whole thing, you start seeing, oh, these are actually original nature. These are original spiritual energies. So this is the beauty, how the material gunas, the three gunas material nature can free you from material entanglement. Because you will use them for service. How else you do? If you want to serve Krishna, what do? What do you offer him? What do you use for offering? You use your body. Body is made of material elements. There is all the gunas and everything. You offer flower. What is made from? Material energy. There's also fire and water and everything, all the elements there. So you use the material energy. You use these expressions of material energy and offer to Krishna, and they become spiritualized. Why Prabhupada gives this example? You put the rod of metal in the fire and it becomes spiritualized. So this is the chapter of three modes of material nature. I prepared quite a few as usual. More reading, but we didn't came to that so much. Although I liked very much the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving his childhood philosophical speculation, and he said, yeah, this is dirt and that is dirt. Yeah, everything is the same. So true, this is energy, that is energy, it's okay. But besides all these energies, there is Krishna. So if you see only energy, there will be material world. But if you see energy plus the source of energy, then it's spiritual world. For Uttamadhikari, he doesn't see anything material. So is it true or not? When we look around, in the same chair, by our eyes and by eyes of pure devotee, externally looks the same, but how he looks different. We see only chair. Devotee sees reflection in the chair, original Krishna's potency. Chair is holding me up. Roof is protecting me. Water is nourishing me. My family is inspiring. Devotee is inspiring. All these originally are qualities of Krishna, of Lord. And when we see those things in such a light, then our spiritual path is fixed, and we can, just by understanding those things, we can come to the supreme perfection, as stated here in commentaries of Śrīla Prabhupada. Grantraj Śrīmad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.